Hi and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. Today is going to be my mid-year freakout tag. So although I've been on BookTube for a couple of years now, this is my first time ever doing this tag, I believe. I don't think I have done it, because normally I see everybody doing it and then I totally forget about it. I'm like, oh shit, I should have done this already and I haven't, and then it's just too late. No, I was just double checking and I have never done this tag, so that makes me feel good from a planning perspective that I've been a bit more on the ball this year. It is something that I've tried to get a wee bit better at, is my BookTube planning, because I appreciate I am always the best. But I'm excited to be doing this tag finally and having it up at a reasonable time. Woohoo! So the first question, the best book I've read so far, and I'm sure everybody knows what the answer to this is before I even hold it up, but it is Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt. Amazing. It is an indie published horror novel by a trans author from Brighton, and it is about a haunted house, but the haunted house is actually fascism in society. It's amazing. It's super queer, super gory, super political. Absolutely everything I need in my life. I've got a single book review of this up that I'll link in the description down below if you want to hear more of my in-depth thoughts and a wee bit spoilery. Also, it was phenomenal. This solidified Alison Rumfitt for me as an autobi author. I will pick up whatever she writes next, and I believe she does have a book in the works. The best sequel you've read so far this year? I'm going to have to say Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. Even though it isn't released yet, I actually managed to get an e-arc of this for NetGalley and I was overjoyed. It was fantastic. It is the sequel to Legends and Lattes, for anybody who hasn't read that yet. It is a prequel story though, so it's about young Viv when she is still a mercenary and she unfortunately has an accident and her troop leave her in a wee town where there's a cute wee bookshop, etc., until she heals, and it's just about her and the people in this town and her recovering before she goes back out on the road. And it was super cute, super queer, super wholesome, and I thoroughly loved every minute of it. It was so well written that it actually enhanced my experience of Bookshops and Bone Dust, Legends and Lattes rather, just because we get to know a whole different side of Viv, which makes us appreciate older Viv's journey a wee bit more. It was absolutely superb, and I do have a spoiler-free review of that on my channel as well that I'll link down in the description below in case that's something you're also interested in hearing more of my thoughts about. A new release that you haven't read yet but you want to. Of having a collapse. I really want to read Mothered by Joji Stage. This is independent published horror about a mother and a daughter who have a bit of a tumultuous relationship and they get locked down together, and it's just about how they cope living together in quite a high pressurised enclosed environment. I'm really excited for this. I love some independent published horror. It is my favourite horror in recent years, to be honest, and so I will definitely be picking this one up soon. I'm going to put my tea down because I don't have enough hands. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So everybody who watches this channel knows that I am fangirl level obsessed with David Sodergren, who is another independently published horror author, and he is Scottish, which obviously means he is my favourite person in the entire world. And he has a new book coming out in the second half of this year, which is very exciting. So it's called And By God's Hand You Shall Die, and it is available for pre-order for Kindle at the minute if anybody is interested in pre-ordering that, because I know there's quite a few of my subscribers who now read David's work as well, which is awesome. But that's going to be released on the 30th of June and I cannot wait for it, let me tell you. I didn't have it pre-ordered because I've got my wee David Sodergren shelf and I want my paperback in there so that it matches the rest, but it sounds absolutely fantastic, and I'll just read you the description of it as well in case it's something that you decide you fancy picking up or going to pre-order to help support David. It would really mean a lot to me if you did. So on holy ground it rests, a strange windowless brothel built upon the ashes of a church. No one who works there believes in the rantings of the insane priest Father Patrick, not when he warns of the coming apocalypse, and certainly not when he speaks of a tidal wave of blood coming to wash away the sinners. No one believes him except Candy, for only Candy has experienced the grim terrors that dwell within the basement. Only Candy has glimpsed hell in a maddening vision that almost drove her mad, and only Candy can prevent the end of everything. Packed with his signature outrageous sex and violence, and By God's Hand You Shall Die is the latest supernatural shocker from David Sodergren, the twisted mind behind The Forgotten Island and Maggie's Grave. This time, you haven't got a prayer. Sold! Will buy! 1000%. We'll read it immediately, and then fangirl relentlessly on Twitter to him. But honestly, for anybody who likes horror, if you're maybe new to this channel and you haven't seen me completely and utterly fangirl about David Sodergren, you definitely will in Indie August, but he is just one of my all-time favourite authors, definitely my favourite indie published horror. Amazing work. Every single book I've read by him has been a 5-star. My biggest disappointment, it's got to be the end of the Shatter Me series, to be honest. I read the last 3 books in the series this year, and book 3 last year for me was a 5-star. Really enjoyed it. It was the only book of the entire series that I really enjoyed, and so I thought naively that maybe it was just a bit of a slow burner, and then it was like going to be 5-star, 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 5-star. It did not. It went 5-star, 2-star, 1-star, 1-star. It was absolutely dreadful. The entire premise and aim of the story shifted. I felt there were too many new characters introduced right at the end of the series, and there wasn't enough answers for it to be a satisfying ending. For me, was bitterly disappointed. Will never read another Tahiri Mafi book in my entire life. Get bent. The biggest surprise for me is going to be the Bake Shop Mystery series by Ellie Alexander, and what I hold in my hand is just all of the books in the series that I have read so far this year. Quite a lot. I have absolutely loved this series. I haven't really been into cosy mysteries before. Was sort of getting into them at the tail end of last year. I did try that trope with cosy mysteries set in a bakery, because like I love food, so if I was going to get into cosy mysteries, it was going to be Bake Shop ones, let's be honest. And I read this series, the first one, as part of that. And then I have read like the next 4, 5, 6, 7 in the series this year, because I have been addicted. Like, the mysteries are great and the town's super cute, super wholesome. Loads of bakery and cookery tips in here. Each book has its own wee recipe pack as well, with some prominent recipes throughout the book, so you can try them at home. But Juliet, our main character, is like a professional pastry chef, so even just throughout the book you're getting so many brilliant tips for her about different things that she is making. And then this town is set, these books are set, in a town called Ashland, where they hold a big Shakespeare festival every single year, and so there are so many Shakespeare references and quotes and puns throughout this series. It is like my perfect cosy mystery series, to be honest. It's got all the wee bits that I just absolutely love, and I have devoured these books this year, and it's been one of my favourite series that I've been reading this year. It's just been so comforting, so cosy. And when I've been slumpy or I've been having some really bad mental health times this year, which I have been, you know, they've been there for me and they've just been exactly what I needed to pick up. And I can't believe, like, I'm in my wee old lady era where I'm just reading my cosy mysteries and loving my life. New favourite author, or an author where it was a debut to me, so I've never read anything from them before, and that's got to be Laura Thalassa. Now, Laura Thalassa does independently published fantasy, and I read the entire Bargainer series this year as part of a read-along that was hosted by Ellie over at Errol Grey Books, and I'll link her channel down below because she's the loveliest human ever, so go check her out. But this series, I wasn't too sure how I was going to feel about it, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of romance predominantly. I tend to steer away from it, and if a plot is far too romance heavy, I tend to check out and just get a wee bit bored. However, this is a fantasy romance series and I thoroughly enjoyed it. The first one was actually my lowest rated, but the rest of the series were 5 stars. Absolutely phenomenal. Really enjoyed them, and I think I rated this one like a 4 or something. It wasn't like terrible, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to pick up Mary Laura Thalassa's work after this. The world she created was brilliant. The relationship that she created between her 2 main characters, Des and Callie, was absolutely phenomenal, to the point where I actually enjoyed the romance. Like, that rarely happens. The only other author whose romance I have really enjoyed has been Beth O'Leary's and Emily Lee. Actually, I really enjoyed their romance in Cafe Con Lychee, but aye, fantastic. I'll definitely pick up Mary Laura Thalassa's work going forward. I think I'm going to try and get my hands on her Four Horsemen series next, because I know that that one's quite popular, and I'll give that a go as well. This is asking for my newest fictional crush, but I don't really have fictional crushes, to be honest. So I'm just going to go like for my favourite fictional couple at the moment, because like I love how much they love each other, so I feel like it's same vibes. But I need to say, my wee Persephone and Hades and Lord Olympus, like I'm just loving how their relationship is developing in this series, and I'm loving how like absolutely piney Hades is, and oh, it's just giving me all the feels. I can't wait for the next one in this series to be released as well. I'm sure that's released shortly actually at time of filming, and aye, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Then for newest favourite character, I'm going to have to say Ox from Wolfsong by TJ Klune. I recently just read this book, and I do have a single book review of this one up as well that I will also link down below in case you want to check out more of my thoughts and spoilery stuff and just see me gushing about how brilliant this book is. But I really loved Ox. He wasn't a perfect character, you know, I didn't always agree with every single decision he made, but I really loved him, and I felt like he always tried to do what was best for the people around him, even if it meant he was having to be a wee bit self-sacrificing at times. And he's just such a wee cutie, you know. He struggles a wee bit with his self-confidence and his self-worth, and I just really loved his confidence growth throughout the series, and I just think he's such a cracking wee human, and I love him. Book that made me cry. It's got to be Mayflies by Andrew O'Hagan. This was the first book of the year that me and Ange picked for our Fiction Addiction book club. I will leave a link to the Discord down below in case you fancy joining us. We read a different book every month, and we do poll picks in the Discord so that you can have a say about what we want to read as well. This is brilliant. It's a book that handles the topic of you know, terminal illness and end-of-life care and euthanasia fantastically, and Andrew O'Hagan is a Scottish author. Thoroughly enjoyed it. This book broke me. Like, I finished this book while I was in the bath, and like, thank God I did, because I couldn't differentiate what was tears and what was bathwater. Like, at one point it was so bad. This is just a love story to male friendship, really. Our two main characters, James and Tully, are absolutely phenomenal, and oh, I could greet just thinking about them, to be honest. This was my top book of the year, to be honest, until I had read Tell Me I'm Worthless, but this is such a close second. It was honestly fantastic. I would recommend for everybody to read this. It was beautifully written, wonderfully done, and the characters just live in my heart forever. Then a book that made me happy is Cafe Con Lychee by Emily Lee. Now, this was just pure joy and love. Again, I read this as a try that trope, because this isn't a book that ordinarily I would pick up. It's like a YA contemporary romance which just doesn't scream an Amy book, but I thoroughly enjoyed this. Our two main characters as families own like opposing competing cafes, and they live in a wee town where it's quite like up and coming, and so there's quite a lot of like Asian fusion trendy cafes popping up, and they serve like authentic Asian foods in their cafes, and so they've sort of saw out the tide, but their parents' cafes are struggling, and there's a developer coming round to try and get them to sell, and the boys team up to make some extra money to try and help support their parents' shops, and they just form the cutest wee friendship that turns into a romance ever, and it was just excellent. Like, the food chat in here was great, the teenage banter and their friends in here were great, their romance is great. I had a really fun time, and this ended up in a 5-star read for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The most beautiful book that you've bought so far this year, I have been gifted. Now, these two were gifts from Simon, and they are the Fairy Loot editions of An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson and The Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. These are seriously stunning, like gold sprayed edges, beautiful end papers, like the spines get a grip, they're gorgeous. Like honestly, can't believe I own these, they are beautiful. I've got the Vespertine edition like this as well, so now I have a full Margaret Rogerson set that matches. But I just hope like if she releases more books in the future, which I hope she does, Fairy Loot do them in these editions so that they all match. Like they can't stop now that they've started. And then what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I have 2 challenges running for myself this year. I have my I seriously need to finish this challenge, where I try to finish up all the series that I have started, or at least make an effort to continue them, as well as there being some other series that I want to start and finish this year. And then I also have my Shelf Destruct challenge that I have running, where I picked 6 books from my shelf that have been languishing for a long time, and I give myself the year to read them, and if I don't read them within that year, then they will be unhauled. And I'm doing not too bad at my seriously need to finish this challenge, I think. I haven't sat down to do like my mid-year check-in for that yet, so I don't really know where I'm sitting. I do know, however, I have been absolutely terrible at my Shelf Destruct challenge, so I've just got a couple of these books. I need to read Practical Demon Keeping by Christopher Moore, and I need to read The Island Child by Molly Aitken. If anybody has read either of these, comment down below, give me reasons why I should pick them up immediately, because I think I've only read 1 book of my Shelf Destruct challenge. In fact, no, I've read 2 and I DNF'd them both. So, pretty mince. I need to get better at that. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please comment down below if you've read any of the books that I have mentioned today, and we can have a wee bit of a chat and a geek out about them. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!